Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to show you how I take extreme macro shots with my Laowa 25mm ultra macro lens. I've got a video capture card connected via an HDMI cable to my Canon 80D, so I'll be able to show you guys what I can see through the viewfinder. Briefly, I just like to talk about my setup again. I've got my Gitzo tripod right there, the newer 4-way focusing rail. I've got my Canon 80D and the Laowa 25mm ultra macro lens. One of the things that's really crucial for this setup is the remote shutter release cable. We want to avoid having any motion blur, so this helps quite a bit. In this short video, I want to focus on the settings that I found to be the most optimal. We are shooting a dead specimen, a tiny little jumping spider, a wide-banded house jumping spider, a male that I found about 8 months ago. Unfortunately, this little specimen has been dried out, so it looks quite awkward. Right now I'm setting the white balance, just making sure that it's 5600 Kelvin because these two lume cubes are set to daylight. The ISO is gonna be base ISO 100. The shutter speed is going to be 1.6 seconds. The aperture is already set. I found f4 to be the sharpest. I have to reframe this shot because the top part is going to be missing. It's just moving so much. That's crazy. It's really difficult to frame the subject properly. We are shooting everything at 5x magnification. I think that looks pretty good. One of the most important things that you have to take into consideration is when you are framing up the shot, make sure that you leave plenty of space around the subject, because once the separate layers are stacked together, then there's gonna be some artifacting usually around the edges that you will have to crop out later in post. I'm gonna start now. Make sure that you pause as well between shots. And try not to move at all. I'm only moving the rail forward at very small increments. I'm probably overshooting as well, but it's still better than, you know, missing certain focal planes, and then once you start stacking, then certain parts won't be in focus. So just make sure that you are patient and take as many shots as possible. After each shot, I usually wait about 2 to 3 seconds just to make sure that the subject is not moving at all. By the way, today I captured the giant male 6-night jumping spider. I've got 2 different series. The first time I spotted this specimen was on Friday, and I think I found the exact same specimen today. I brought it inside and I took another series of it. I think it looks amazing. And also keep an eye out for the video footage as well, because I managed to take a whole set of clips last Friday and it looked absolutely ridiculously cool. I just finished taking the shots for this series and now I'm gonna show you what we've got. So let's have a look. This was the first shot, and if I move forward, you can see that the focal plane changes and we gradually get different focal planes sharp. Once we blend these in Zerene, then we should get a sharp enough shot. Let's just quickly summarize what kind of settings I used. The aperture was f4. I've done a number of tests and I found f4 to be the most optimal. This relatively wide aperture also allows us not to use a very long shutter speed. The longer the shutter speed, the higher the chance of taking blurry shots as well. So we try to avoid it. Base ISO, ISO 100. Make sure that you use a very sturdy tripod. The sturdier, the more solid, the better. When you're using a manual focusing rail, such as the newer Pro 4-way macro focusing rail that I've got, is when you move the control knob, only move it ever so slightly. Take as many shots as possible just to make sure that the depth of focus that you are after is covered. Now I'm gonna just upload the images. I'm gonna stack everything in Zerene Stacker, and then we're gonna do a bit of minor editing in Photoshop. I've got all the raw files right here. And then we're gonna just chuck them into Lightroom. Go to the develop module. I'm gonna increase texture by 12 and add a bit of vibrance, 5. Bring down the highlights by about 20. That should be good enough. And then I'm just gonna sync everything. We're gonna start exporting. Wide banded house jumping spider stack. So we've got all the JPEGs here, and then I'm gonna open these in Zerene and do a bit of stacking. File, add files, all the files here. Select them by holding down Shift, and then all I gotta do is align and stack and use the PMax option. I'm not gonna do anything else. Once that's done, we've got our stack, then I'm gonna just take it into Photoshop and do a bit of minor editing. The stack is done. We're gonna just save output image. Okay, that's cool. So we've got that, and this is the stacked shot. The next step in the evolution of taking extreme macro shots for me is definitely going to be by the use of microscopic objectives. I've been looking at the VMacro rail system, the automated rail system that is much cheaper than the Cognisys, along with the 10x infinity objective, which supposedly gives you much sharper images. So I'm looking forward to using that in the very near future. Anyway, let's hop into Photoshop and do a bit of editing there as well. I'm just gonna clean it up just a little bit. Make sure that we center this little fella. Yeah, it's in the center. I'm gonna just apply a curves adjustment layer just a little bit, bring it up just a tad. It's all right. And then we go to camera filter, raw filter, and lift the shadows just a little bit more, an extra 15, and then add a little bit more texture, a little bit more clarity, and detail, just a little bit of sharpening. So this is the final shot that we got out of 20 shots that we took with the Laowa 25mm ultra macro lens at 5x magnification. If you got a manual focusing rail, you can still take amazing shots. Don't be discouraged by it. You gotta be a little bit more patient, and it can be much more time consuming than using an automated rail. As you can see, the level of detail and the sharpness is absolutely spectacular. Even though diffraction starts to kick in at 3x magnification, I think it looks still very usable. If you're unsure of something, then please get in touch with me either on Instagram or here on YouTube. Thank you so much again for watching, and see you guys very soon in the next one.